Oh, good. You're able to muscle it back here. Thank you. And you got it standing up too. Looks so good.
It looks so awesome. I love it. I love it.
That puts you in the spirit, right? And it takes me back to that beautiful trip Roger took us on to the tree farm.
We got about 15 acres here. We're growing close to 14,000 trees on it.
Now, how many different species?
About 13 different species.
The tree farm. I mean, what a great expedition that was. There's all different kinds of firs at that farm. So there was Douglas firs, Frasier firs, Concolor firs, and Balsam firs. And I have to say, firs are my favorite for Christmas trees because a couple really important reasons, like their branching structure, their stiffer branches. I love the color, that dark green, beautiful, beautiful branch with that, and the underside has that bluish tone.
Right.
So I'm a fir person. What about you?
I'm actually with you and Roger. Fir is my favorite too. I don't even know why. I mean, it just to me says Christmas tree. And also, to me, it's like the most fragrant, right?
Right. You break one needle and that smell just brings you back.
And as I said, they look like Christmas trees. Although I'm not sure people appreciate, just how by design this whole process is. They think they're walking around in the forest,
right,
cutting down trees. It's actually a farm. There's a lot of thought and planning that goes into a tree farm.
Right.
These trees here are small balsams, probably about 2 years old.
2 years old? They don't grow much the first 2 years.
No, the first few years they get up out of the ground. That's about it.
They start tiny, and as they grow, they transplant them and they give them room, space to grow. And when they get to be about 4 feet tall is when shearing time comes. Pruning and shearing it's a big deal for a Christmas tree farmer. You have to pay attention to the top and bottom. So this is called the terminal leader, right?
This single guy sticking up right here?
Right, you typically want one piece going up. So you cut it 8 to 10 inches and you cut it right below a good bud. And then you take off the buds below that so you don't have multiple leaders.
Yeah, and so you say buds. I'm not sure people appreciate this. This is the bud.
These are the buds at the tip, and they don't look like anything now, but what they're going to do is emerge with new growth. So this dictates how much the plant will grow. So if you follow this down the stem, you ask, how much did the tree grow this year? It grew about 7.5 inches.
And that's because last year those nubs were right here.
Correct.
And so everything past that point, as you say, this is all new growth.
Right. And so mid-June to July is when you want to prune and shear for the shape of the Christmas tree. So this will be a different color when it comes out. It's soft. So during that time period of June, July is when you want to cut it before it hardens off. And when it hardens off, that means before it becomes this stiff type of needles.
And darker color, right? Because the new growth is sort of a lighter green.
Yeah, you need to cut it during that time period before it hardens off, because so it creates that nice end in that, and then you could achieve your pyramidal shape of the tree.
So concentrate on the top pruning, concentrate on the body of the pruning right here, and then
Well,
you're
this
moving.
is called the shearing.
The shearing.
So and then you travel to the bottom, and this is called the basal pruning. And so what you want to do is cut all the branches to create this nice base. And also think of like a bike wheel. You want all these branches to come out from the center. So those are called whorled branches. And once you do that, it establishes a good base, and you have balance on the tree, and also a great handle to put it into the tree base when you bring it into your house.
Yeah, but let's be honest, we need room for the presents, right?
So you might need to put it up like 2 feet high.
Absolutely, you got to spoil those kids on Christmas, right? So you end up with a beautifully shaped tree like this if you go to a good farm, and then the first thing you do is, well, these days you wrap it up in that cool netting that they have.
Oh my gosh, that thing is awesome. You send it through the machine, it just goes, sucks it up, and you throw it on the top of your car or in your car.
Yeah.
And then when you bring it home, you don't take off the net yet. You put it in the tree stand, fill it with water, which is very important. Hopefully at the tree place, you get a nice fresh cut, and so it absorbs all the water, because you do not want your tree to dry out, because it'll start dropping needles and become a fire hazard.
Yeah, which is sort of the flip side to an otherwise joyous thing, and that is we've learned that house fires spike in December.
Right.
And I had the opportunity to go to just outside of Chicago to the UL Laboratories, Underwater Laboratories, where they tested everything.
Right.
We talked about Christmas trees, and we learned about that December spike in house fires.
I remember
right?
seeing that. Yes, it's terrible.
And if I recall, there's
Scary.
two big culprits, right? There's the candle.
Yep.
So mom or grandma sets the big table and puts candles on it, and they get left unattended or they get knocked over. You get a fire that way.
Every time there's a fire, people say, I just left the room for a second, and when I came back, it was ablaze.
So what's the tip? No
The
candles?
tip is just blow out the candle when you leave the room. Don't let it sit there alone. And the reason for that, Kevin, is simply because a dog could bump it, a cat could bump it, children could bump the table, or it could just fall over by itself because it wasn't inserted hard enough into the candle holder.
And then, of course, there's the dried out Christmas tree, and it's got lights on it, right? Faulty wiring or whatever.
Kindling. Yeah.
It is kindling. And I tell you what, Jen, we burned these trees right there in the controlled laboratory. It was terrifying to see.
This is 15 seconds into it.
Drier the tree, the more heat it gives off.
That's right, and heat release is the better indicator of your safety.
That is an inferno.
That tree is almost gone, and it's only about 45 seconds now. And that tree is so far gone, and the house and the room is so far gone, you need the fire department for sure to take care of this.
And then they went and they compared it to an artificial tree, which was also terrifying, although it turned out to be a pretty good story because they burned and they gave off a ton of smoke, but it turns out it smoldered slowly. So a lot of smoke sets off your smoke alarms, it alerts you to get out of the house, and the tree's not burning as quickly.
Right,
So of the two, it was sort of the safer, but either way,
That was the safer one.
you don't want to see a Christmas tree burn.
Right,
You want
right.
to see it filled with ornaments and presents beneath it.
So moral of the story is water your tree.
Keep it water.
Simple.
Yep. And you know what? Right now, I guarantee you somewhere, Roger's out in the woods cutting down these trees.
I thought I saw him with an axe the other day.
Thanks for watching. This Old House has got a video for just about every home improvement project, so be sure to check out the others. And if you like what you see, click on the subscribe button. Make sure that you get our newest videos right in your feed.